Hello and welcome, as it is the 24th day of November 2019. My name is Derek. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. So the failed breakout obviously coming in here, as it was a failed breakdown before on the Bitcoin chart. But as I've stated on every situation, when you make a big move, how you react within its correctionary move within the 18 lows and where you come from is very important. And in both cases, in both spots, didn't do so well. And when it made this move back in the start of the autumn season, or September 21st, September, in that area, it's stated, because it broke the support, that it was going to be making a move via route to that of about the low 6,000 area. And then you have the sideways movement for quite some time, with then the failed breakdown, the very fast move. And it looks like this happens in a 2-day session. It happened in like a couple hours or within the day. It's just it crossed over from the timestamp of one day to the next. And then like this in here, a long sideways consolidation. And it's been down ever since. And the big move starting going down on the 18th or last Monday. And the price action coming down in here, not finding support really much at this area. So it does seem as if that 6,000 low area is going to be a interesting level moving forward on the monthly term time frame. That low 6,000 is represented by the 18 lows. As it's still looking for direction on this, just simply looking at it via, okay, great run higher. Now we've had a little small move above here. We've had a move in here. Therefore, it didn't successfully resist the 18 highs on a bearish level. Now it's attempting on a bullish level to attempt in here. As it goes, until it breaks this range, this long term is just neutral or waiting for its next move. And to me, it's relatively simple. If it has a break below this, it's pretty much almost a game over break below. And if it's this, it's, well, game over again is just for different side. Game over, maybe the cryptos don't work out at this. And game over, well, game over for the fiat economic monetary systems in the global level. That's where I look at it that way, meaning breakdown below here, we're probably never going to see these highs again. And if we break above this level, these highs will be nothing compared to what the new ones I think will come in at. Let's then move on to Tezos on the monthly term time frame, which for the 24 days is up 94% against Bitcoin. And there's really not much data here. But with what I have, I can work with. And this thing is making a nice move. We had this level, we have this level of resistance that it got up to on November 7th after breaking out a couple days before then. The price action got down to below 900. And it was easy to buy in the low 900s for quite some time. Then even at like 920, 930, although that technically is close enough to the low. But this is all I have on the daily chart, which is enough to show me that, well, it got above this level. It successfully corrected this. And so far, this is what the high is. Whether it's going to be or not, highs and lows are known after the fact. But if it's not the high, or excuse me, first, if it is the high, that means I'll be looking for the 18 average, and I'll be looking for this area where we came from as that for support. And the must hold area totally is now on this. But for first, I'd be looking there. Now, if this thing can keep going, and you want to see the shorter term time frame to determine that more clearly, the case for how much it can go higher, well, decent. I mean, these bull markets, you never know when they run. When these cryptos are ready to go, you could have like 3, 10, 20, who knows how large of the moves that can come into play. It's already doubled from the lows already. But we've had multiple hits of this 19.5 level 4 different times amongst the triple hour term, and it hasn't done it in the last 5, including this one. So the last 4 completed, the highest it got up to is about almost 1900. single hour term time frame. Well, it originally got up there as it was having that great run from the last time it broke this resistance in here. So it got up to, this was like almost a couple hit time of like 16 3/4. Gets up there on the November 21st, pulls back. Next day, it resists there again, piercing above. Then it pulls back to a matching low. But obviously how it corrects within this, when it has the excitation of the 18 on this, it was an elevator ride to where it established in such at 1944. And I'm not going to count this as a second hit, but you almost can, because you know for sure within this period it kind of went up here, it came back down at least to that level within the session because it closed there. Then the next one it came up to this high, but after that it came down to the correctionary phase. But 3 hours later we hit it again, back to the correctionary phase. We had excitation of the 18 here, but it quickly reverted back to the 18 lows. We had the exit after a couple periods of sneaking. It exited here, but it didn't go up far. But it was the fourth hit down to the 18, but no attempt in here to get above it, and then failing the 18 in this. Thus, only one leg, and then you got to wonder, well, what's going on in this period here? But regardless of that, we can see how it got up to the 18 highs. Last period's got above it so far with a minute 55 left. So this period is pretty much over now. It's one of those hold periods. So now I'm looking at, okay, maybe we'll have a test number 5. And if it beats test number 5, and the more often you test resistance, the more likely it is you take it out. Well, we could be looking at maybe prices, who knows, north of the 2,000 number, maybe 21, 22. When we can see when these moves happen, I mean, it could just go off and go really, really quick. So I don't know what happened in here, but what was the case at 6 o'clock this morning? Oh, wow. Let's just go to the one. What an interesting move. We had a nice little very short-term breakout going from 1816 to 1890. A few percentage points, nothing major, but still. So the sellers come in, bring the market down literally to very close to the very low end of where it came from. Originally falling back to this level, but how it's been able to hold it, then getting back going at 849 this morning. And of course, we got this level of resistance. And to me, this just seems to be poised, ready to go through. So again, it's all going to go down that Bitcoin. If Bitcoin successfully corrects this move, 6,000, 5,500, 54, considering it was like 3,000 or so last year, got to 31, 32, and you had to see that from between that and 4,000 for like months, meaning all of like December, January, February, and March of this the previous current and previous year has been, well, 3,000 to 4,000 Bitcoin. But if it corrects that move successfully, then I think coins like this and many others, of course, will go well along the way. And if it doesn't, well, same thing, which it won't be successful, that is. So, although they'll work together, another way of putting it. And now let's transition into my fantasy sports. And I never thought that this would have been a realistic, amazing, profitable system betting on hockey players. I've had some incredible results over the last little bit as I've had this go from under 100 profit to now over 700. Risk reward management for me is always job number 1. And I like to use both words together because tonight's a big reward spot, meaning it's a very good long-term profitable game as the Edmonton Oilers go to Arizona to take on the Coyotes. So my risk tonight right now is like 102, and it might even go to like 110, 111, which is pretty much the same. So therefore, the most it can go down to is down to here, but there to me isn't gonna. There's a lot of situations that can occur that will do very well, which is why I'm very. It's really cool to be able to find a game, try to really just use your skills that you have in number crunching to defeat it. And right now the season is very early, given that it's only going into December, and then I've got all of December, January, February, March, April, and then the playoffs start. But this is pretty much doing exactly what I thought. No, unfortunately, a big line is probably going to happen on the screen. I hope it doesn't, though. But like that. However, there's a couple interesting ones that I want to talk about, which is the first one and the final one. And let me explain what this means. It's the exact math formula in here. The place divided by the field of the game. And the numbers represent like percentage points. Well, 5%, 10, and so on. Meaning that if it's a 1,000 player game, in order to get into this number, you have to finish 50th place or better. And this would be 51 to 100 and so on and so forth. So I've had most of my results finish in the upper top 5%, noticeably. And then the next level of best results is the 10 all the way to 25, with 10 to 20 being better than 25. And then the worst results, or the lowest in here, is right that 50 number, which is what I predicted would happen. Where this is the least common spots you're going to finish. It's really called a parlay of things, meaning if this goes together, then okay, this should be better. But if it doesn't, it's going to be worse, meaning I expected this to be up like this. But why is this one? And it should be up here. It should be like up in here. But the reason why it's not is because of two variables. Number one, people buy in tickets to these games and literally don't play, so they score 0 points. That's not too difficult to defeat, although not guaranteed. Most of the time it is. And then people put lineup cards that are just so bad that they're asking to finish near the bottom as well. But that level of being really bad at putting lineups together, not too many of them. Most of the ones make mistakes that's going to generally put them in the middle part of the fields. So I'm really looking to take advantage of that as well. Like I stated, it's like an open-face poker game. And as I transition back to charts, what I really didn't want to do if cryptos don't work out, for what I consider an easy way to generate income, relatively easy, was YouTube. Meaning, I got a YouTube channel ready to go. If I do one of those things where I can think of an idea, something like whatever, like you've got all these people that put out different YouTube videos with very good quality of video content that if you do a subject this way, but I don't want to do that. I mean, I'm doing videos this way and it works out fine. But I realized that this is a decent long-term play because I think that the same type of understanding for hockey works in baseball. Definitely not in basketball or football, although football is another interesting way I've already talked about as well earlier. But hope I'll explain tomorrow how good or bad the Arizona-Edmonton game is. But I expect it long-term to be very profitable, which is why I'm putting up what I consider 100, a little over 100 when I've got like 700 in winnings. That's still like well under 20% in one shot. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.